Cold rain fell on the metal streets of Vorak City, a place where no one stopped to help the weak. Lights from tall broken towers flickered in the dark, and smoke moved slowly across the sky. On this lonely night, a small alien girl sat beside a rusty gate, hugging her thin arms around her knees. Her name was Lyra, and she had nowhere to go. Lyra's eyes were big and silver, glowing softly in the darkness. Her skin was pale blue and covered in dust. She looked like a child who had not eaten for days. But the thing that made people avoid her was the strange gold mark on her right hand. It looked like a symbol made of sunlight, glowing even in the rain. Anyone who saw the mark walked away. Some whispered, "She is cursed. She is worthless. Stay away." Lyra heard these words her whole life. She wanted to scream that she was not dangerous, but nobody believed her. So she stayed quiet. It was easier to hide than to try again and get hurt. Tonight, she was shaking from the cold. She pulled her small blanket, really just a torn piece of cloth, closer around her. Her stomach growled, but she ignored it. She was used to hunger. Thunder rolled across the sky, but it was not normal thunder. It sounded like engines. Heavy engines. Lyra lifted her head. Bright red searchlights swept through the streets. Metal boots hit the ground again and again. A group of tall alien soldiers marched past the gate. Their armor glowed with sharp blue lines. One soldier spoke in a cold, echoing voice. "Find the marked child. Do not let her escape again." Lyra held her breath. They were hunting her. She pressed herself against the wall, hiding behind broken crates. Her heart beat so fast she felt dizzy. She wanted to run, but she knew she could not outrun soldiers. She had tried before. The soldiers' voices grew louder. "She is dangerous. She must be taken. She is a threat to the council." Lyra did not understand why they hated her so deeply. She only knew one thing. If they caught her, she would not come back. The rain fell harder. The crates were starting to shake from the cold wind. Lyra closed her eyes and tried not to cry. That was when she heard a different sound. Quiet footsteps, soft, careful. She opened her eyes and saw someone standing only a few steps away. A human. Humans were rare in Vorak City. They were travelers, explorers, strangers. This one wore a long dark coat and carried a small light on his chest. His face was tired, but his eyes were kind. He looked at her, confused at first, then surprised. "What are you doing out here all alone?" he asked gently. Lyra froze. She didn't answer. No one had ever spoken to her kindly before, not even once. The human lowered himself to her level, so he didn't look frightening. "My name is Captain Rowan," he said softly. "I won't hurt you." Lyra wanted to believe him, but she had been betrayed too many times. Behind them, the sound of soldiers grew closer. Rowan noticed it. His eyes narrowed. "Are they chasing you?" he whispered. Lyra hesitated. Then nodded. Rowan looked at the direction of the marching soldiers, then back at the tiny, shaking girl. "You can trust me," he said, "but you must tell me your name." She swallowed hard and whispered, "Lyra." He offered her his hand. "Lyra, come with me. It's not safe here." She looked at his hand. No one had ever reached out to her before. No one had ever cared if she lived or died. But this human, this stranger, was waiting. The rain fell around them. Lyra slowly reached out. Just as her fingers brushed his loud alarm echoed through the streets. The soldiers had found the gate, and now they were coming straight for them. The rain poured harder as Lyra and Rowan ran through the twisting alleys of Vorak City. Water splashed beneath their boots, and the smell of wet metal filled the air. Lyra clutched Rowan's hand tightly. Every sound, every echo of distant footsteps made her freeze for a heartbeat. Rowan glanced back once. "They're close," he said calmly, though his eyes were sharp. "But don't worry, I've seen worse." Lyra's stomach tightened. Worse than being alone, worse than being called worthless. She didn't know, but she kept running. She had learned long ago that stopping meant capture. And worse. They turned a corner, slipping past piles of broken crates. A red light from a patrol drone scanned the street ahead. Lyra froze. Rowan crouched beside her, whispering, "Stay still. Follow my lead." The drone's light passed just inches above them. Lyra held her breath, her heart hammering. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the light moved on. Rowan smiled at her. "See? Nothing to it." Lyra wanted to believe him, but doubt still filled her chest. She had been hunted all her life, abandoned by the very people who should have protected her. They ducked into a narrow passage, dark and quiet. Rowan finally stopped. "You're safe here." "For now," he said, breathing heavily. Lyra looked at him. He didn't shout at her, didn't question her. He just waited. "I'm hungry," she whispered. Her voice was barely audible over the rain. Rowan reached into his coat and handed her a small pack. Inside were dried fruits and bread, simple human food, but a feast to Lyra. She took it carefully, her fingers trembling. "Eat," Rowan said. "You need strength. You can't hide if you're weak." Lyra looked at the food, then at him. Nobody had ever cared about her strength before. Nobody had ever offered food without a condition. She took a small bite. The flavor was strange, sweet and soft. Her stomach growled again, but she ignored it. Rowan watched her quietly, giving her space. After a moment, he asked, "Why are they after you? What's with that mark?" Lyra flinched and looked down at her glowing hand. The golden mark pulsed softly, almost alive. I don't know," she said. "I've always had it. They say it's dangerous." Rowan studied her carefully. "It doesn't look dangerous. It looks special." "Special," Lyra echoed, her voice small. "They call me worthless." "Broken, cursed," Rowan shook his head. "They're wrong. You're not worthless, Lyra. You're alive, and that's more than enough." For the first time in her life, someone believed her. She wanted to say it out loud, but the sound caught in her throat. Instead, she clutched his hand tighter. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the alley. Soldiers, too many to fight. Rowan grabbed Lyra and pulled her deeper into the shadows. "You have to trust me," he said. "Do exactly as I do." He pressed her hand to the wall. Her mark glowed faintly against the stone. The wall shimmered. Lyra gasped. She hadn't done anything like that before. Rowan's eyes widened in surprise, but he didn't panic. Instead, he whispered, "It's okay. You're safe. Come on." The wall slid aside, revealing a hidden path. They slipped inside just as the soldiers' boots thundered past. Inside it was dark and quiet. A faint hum of energy vibrated through the air. Lyra stared at the walls. Strange patterns glowed faintly where her mark had touched. Rowan knelt beside her. "You see?" he said softly. "There's more to you than anyone knows. I think you might be extraordinary." Lyra swallowed hard. Extraordinary. She had never heard that word used for her. The closest thing she had ever felt to kindness was here, with this human who didn't look away, who didn't run, who didn't call her worthless. Outside, the storm continued. But for the first time, Lyra felt a small spark of hope. She was not alone. Not anymore. The hidden path led them into a quiet chamber deep beneath the city. The air smelled metallic and old, like a forgotten machine that had been sleeping for centuries. Lyra's glowing mark pulsed softly, lighting the walls with golden patterns that twisted and turned as if alive. Rowan knelt beside her, eyes wide. "I've never seen anything like this," he whispered. "It responds to you." Lyra touched the wall, hesitant. "I didn't do anything," she said, voice trembling. "It just moved." "No," Rowan said. "You did. Somehow. You made it move." She looked at her hand. The golden symbol was faint now, but it still glimmered. A part of her wanted to hide it, to say it was nothing. But deep down, she knew it was something. Something important. Something dangerous. Rowan took a careful step back, studying her. Lyra, I think you have a power. Something your people are scared of. Her stomach twisted. Power? Dangerous? She had spent her life running from people who called her worthless. And now, Rowan believed in her. They said I was cursed, Lyra whispered. They said I'm a threat. Rowan shook his head slowly. No, Lyra, they're afraid. Afraid of what they don't understand. But I think you might be special. The walls hummed again. Strange lights danced around her mark. Lyra felt a warmth spread from her hand, and then a vision. She gasped. Images flashed in her mind. A city she had never seen. Shining towers taller than any on Vorex. A family she could not recognize, holding hands. And a machine, enormous and ancient, covered in glowing symbols like the one on her hand. Rowan noticed her eyes widen. Lyra, I saw something, she said. I don't know what it means, but I think it's me, and something else. Something big. Rowan placed a hand on her shoulder. It's okay. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out, together. Just. Then, a low rumble echoed through the chamber. Lyra froze. The walls vibrated faintly, as if responding to her fear. Rowan's eyes narrowed. They found us, he said. The patrols, they're close. Too close. But maybe we can use this. Lyra looked at him confused. Use what? The mark. Whatever power it has, Rowan said. I don't know exactly how it works, but you have it. You might be the only one who can save yourself. She shook her head. I can't. I don't know how. You've already done things you didn't understand, Rowan said firmly. You opened the wall. You made patterns appear. That's more than most can do. A soft glow spread from her hand again. The golden light crept along the walls, forming a map. Lines, circles, and symbols connected to a point far away. Rowan's mouth fell open. That's a path, he said. A map to something hidden. Something important. Lyra's heart pounded. She had never felt this kind of fear and excitement before. For the first time, she realized she might not just be running anymore. Maybe she could fight. Maybe she could change things. The hum grew louder, almost like a heartbeat. Rowan glanced around, tense. They're coming, but maybe we don't have to run. Lyra looked at him, then at the glowing map. She felt the first spark of courage she had ever known. Maybe this human was right. Maybe she wasn't. Worthless. Maybe. She was dangerous, yes, but dangerous in a way that could save her. A loud crash echoed from the tunnels above. The patrols were getting closer. Rowan whispered urgently, Lyra, it's time. Whatever you're hiding, whatever you are, show me. And maybe, just maybe, it can save us. Lyra's fingers tingled. Her mark burned with light. She clenched her fist, ready, unsure, but no longer afraid. Something inside her had awakened, and nothing would ever be the same. The tunnel ended abruptly at a massive hatch, rusted but strangely intact. Beyond it lay the ruins of Vorex's old city, floating platforms and shattered towers suspended in the night sky like jagged stars. Rain fell in sheets, bouncing off the metal, making the ruins glimmer like scattered silver. Lyra stared in awe. She had never seen anything like it. Her mark pulsed warmly, reacting to the strange energy that flowed through the ruins. Rowan grabbed her hand. Stay close, he said. We have to move fast. They stepped onto a narrow walkway, the wind whipping around them. Below, clouds churned like restless oceans. Every platform creaked and shifted under their weight. Soldiers' alarms blared in the distance. Rowan pulled Lyra along. Don't look down, he warned. Keep your eyes on me. Lyra's fingers tightened around his. Her heart pounded. not just from fear, but from the strange thrill of the unknown. This place was alive in a way she could feel. The walls of the ruins hummed faintly as she passed, and her mark glowed brighter with every step. Suddenly, drones appeared overhead, their red lights cutting through the dark rain. Rowan dropped to the side of the walkway, pulling Lyra down with him. Blaster shots lit up the night. Sparks flew as lasers struck metal around them. "Use your mark!" Rowan shouted. Lyra hesitated. She had never done anything like this. But as the drones hovered closer, she felt a surge in her hand. The golden symbol burned like fire. She pressed her palm against the nearest metal railing. A pulse of light shot out, and the drone's sensors went haywire. They spun, crashed, and fell from the sky. Rowan whistled in surprise. "Well done," he said. "You really are special." Lyra blushed, though the wind and rain drenched her face. She looked down at her hand. The mark still glowed softly, like it was breathing. Something inside her was awakening. They ran across the ruined platforms, jumping over broken gaps and swinging across hanging cables. Every step was dangerous. Every misstep could send them plummeting into the clouds below. But the thrill made Lyra feel alive in a way she had never known. Then the humming grew louder. One of the ancient towers ahead lit up, golden lines running along its surface. Lyra froze. The tower seemed to recognize her. Her mark tingled violently, pulling her toward it. "Go," Rowan urged. "We don't have time to think." Lyra ran, the golden light streaming from her hand like a trail of fire. She reached the tower and pressed her palm to its base. The walls shuddered and opened, revealing a hidden chamber inside. Rowan followed her, amazed. Inside, the chamber was filled with glowing symbols and floating patterns. Strange energy moved like liquid. Light. Lyra felt it calling to her, whispering secrets she didn't understand. She could feel herself connected to it, as if the ruins themselves had been waiting for her. Rowan looked at her, awe in his eyes. "Lyra, you can control it. You're not just special, you're extraordinary." She didn't know if she was ready for that. All her life, she had been worthless in the eyes of others. Now the ruins themselves acknowledged her power. A sudden crash echoed outside. Soldiers had tracked them here. Rowan drew his blaster, preparing to fight, but Lyra stopped him. "I can do this," she said, trembling but determined. She raised her hand, and golden light surged from her mark into the chamber. Energy shot outward, forming a protective barrier around them. The soldiers screamed in frustration, unable to enter. Rowan stared, speechless. You saved us," he whispered. Lyra took a deep breath. For the first time, she felt strength. Instead of fear, she realized that the city, the ruins, and this strange power had been waiting for her all along, and she was ready. The storm raged outside, but inside the sky ruins, a new light had awakened, one that would change everything. The chamber hummed with golden light, reflecting off the walls like liquid fire. Lyra stood in the center, her hand glowing, connecting with the energy that had awakened in the sky ruins. She felt it pulsing through her veins, whispering secrets she could almost understand. Rowan watched her, awe and worry mixing in his eyes. "Lyra, whatever is happening, it's more than I imagined. You're not just special, you might be extraordinary." Lyra's eyes widened as the golden light surged. Suddenly, the symbols on the walls began to shift. They formed images, holograms floating in the air, flickering like living memories. Lyra gasped as she saw a small child swaddled in a soft glow. Her heart skipped a beat. That's me," she whispered. Rowan stepped closer, voice soft. "Your parents?" The images changed. She saw two figures, regal and strong, moving through a city of shining towers, protecting someone. The child in their arms was her, hidden from those who wanted to destroy her. She watched as the hologram showed the moment her parents, were taken, their faces filled with love and fear. They killed them, Lyra breathed. Tears filled her silver eyes. I was left alone. Rowan placed a steady hand on her shoulder. You weren't left because you were worthless. You were hidden to protect you. The golden patterns on the walls connected, forming a map of the galaxy. Points of light flickered, like stars guiding her to something she didn't yet understand. Lyra felt a sudden rush of knowledge, memories she had never lived. Secrets of her birth and her people. The Council, she whispered. They erased me, erased my identity. They were afraid of you, Rowan said gently. They feared your power, your bloodline, and what you might awaken. Images of a massive machine appeared in the air, glowing with energy. Lyra felt her mark tingle violently. That machine, she said, her voice trembling. It calls me. You're not a threat because you want to hurt, Rowan said firmly. You're a threat to their lives, and now you have a choice. Lyra felt a mix of fear and determination. She had spent her whole life running, hiding, believing she was worthless. Now the truth was clear. She was not only valuable, she was powerful. She had a purpose, one that her people had tried to steal from her. A sudden rumble echoed through the ruins. Soldiers had followed them, breaking through parts of the floating platforms. Rowan drew his blaster, but Lyra shook her head. I don't need you to fight for me, she said, her voice steady. I can do this. Her mark flared, sending golden waves across the chamber. The soldiers froze outside, terrified of the light. The energy wrapped around Lyra like a shield, and the holograms of her parents' legacy surrounded her. She felt their courage, their love, and their strength flow into her. Rowan's voice was full of awe. You're the heir, Lyra. The true heir. For the first time, she smiled through her tears. I'm not worthless, she said softly. I was never worthless. I was hidden, waiting for this moment. The chamber seemed to pulse in response, as if the ruins themselves acknowledged her. She realized something incredible. She had been given a second chance, a chance to reclaim her identity, to awaken her legacy, and to reshape the galaxy. But the soldiers outside were still coming. The choice was clear. She could run again, or stand and fight for the truth that was hers by birthright. Lyra took a deep breath. Her mark burned brighter. The golden light reflected in Rowan's eyes as he nodded at her, silently promising his support. I will stand, she said, her voice strong. I will rise. The truth of her birth had been revealed. And with it, a new power, one that could not be ignored, was ready to awaken. Outside, the storm raged. Inside, a girl once called worthless prepared to claim her destiny. The chamber vibrated with golden energy as Lyra stood in its center, her mark blazing brighter than ever. The air felt alive, buzzing with power that hummed through her veins. She had spent her life running, hiding, believing she was nothing. Now she could feel the truth in every heartbeat. She was not worthless. She was a force. Rowan stood beside her, awestruck. Lyra, whatever happens, I've got your back. She nodded, barely noticing. Her focus was on the soldiers outside, pounding through the ruins. Their weapons glowed red and blue, firing at the walls and platforms around her. Lyra's pulse quickened, not with fear, but with a strange, thrilling certainty. They think I am weak, she whispered to herself. They are wrong, a soldier's voice bellowed, echoing through the ruins. Mark, child. Surrender at once, Lyra's mark flared. Light shot from her hand, spreading across the chamber like liquid gold. The walls shimmered and pulsed, projecting enormous energy shields that deflected the incoming fire. The soldiers screamed in frustration as their weapons fizzled and short-circuited. Rowan's jaw dropped. You're unstoppable. Lyra didn't answer. Her mind was focused, sensing the ancient power inside the ruins respond to her. It wasn't just energy, it was alive, waiting for her to command it. She raised both hands, and waves of golden light shot outward, knocking soldiers off their feet without harming them. The remaining troops hesitated. They had never seen anything like this. To them, the worthless girl had become a living weapon, a force beyond understanding. Lyra stepped forward. "I am not worthless," she shouted, her voice echoing across the ruins. "I am the heir. I am the protector of this city, of my people, and of the galaxy." Her words carried weight, power. The golden energy surged higher, forming intricate patterns in the air, spinning like stars in a miniature galaxy. The soldiers froze, awe and fear rooting them in place. Rowan watched, amazed. "You're incredible. You're rewriting everything they ever said about you." Lyra's eyes glowed silver, reflecting the radiant energy swirling around her. She could feel the power coursing through every fiber of her being. The soldiers were no longer threats, they were obstacles she could bend to her will. Then she saw the alien leader emerge at the edge of the ruins, armor black and sharp, eyes blazing with fury. He pointed at her, shouting, "You think you can challenge us? You are nothing but a child." Lyra smiled, her confidence unshakable. "I am not nothing," she said, "and you will see what you have done wrong." With that, she directed a pulse of golden energy toward the leader. The energy wrapped around him, lifting him off the platform without harm. He struggled, powerless against the force she commanded. Rowan stepped closer, whispering, "Lyra, you're truly unstoppable." For the first time, Lyra felt no fear. Every insult, every moment she had been called worthless, had been a shadow that made her stronger. She was no longer running. She was rising. She was becoming the person she had always been meant to be. The soldiers fell to their knees, surrendering to the undeniable power of the girl they had scorned. The ruins shimmered around her, responding to her presence, alive with energy. Lyra had become more than a survivor, she had become a legend. She turned to Rowan, her expression softening. "You believed in me," she said quietly. "Even when no one else did, you gave me shelter. And now I can protect more than just myself." Rowan smiled. "I always knew you could." Lyra looked out over the floating city, her silver eyes blazing. She felt every wrong, every lie, every betrayal wash away. The worthless girl had risen, and nothing and no one could stop her now. The sky ruins pulsed in response, golden light painting the clouds below. The storm raged outside, but inside, a new power, a new ruler, and a new hope had been born. The golden light of Lyra's mark pulsed across the ruins like the heartbeat of the city itself. The alien soldiers, once loud and threatening, now lay in stunned silence, powerless before her. Above them, the storm raged, lightning cracking across the sky. But within the chamber and the sky ruins, a new calm settled like the first breath of a new world. Lyra stood tall, her silver eyes glowing with a mixture of strength and compassion. She had risen from the girl called worthless to the heir of a legacy more powerful than she had ever imagined. Every insult, every moment of fear, every betrayal had led her here. Rowan stepped beside her, his hand brushing hers. "They'll never call you worthless again," he said softly. "You've shown them who you really are." "They feared me," Lyra said, her voice steady. "Not because of what I wanted, but because of what I could become, and now they must see the truth." A low murmur spread among the soldiers. The alien leader, black-armored and furious, lifted his head. His voice trembled with both anger and awe. "You, a child, have taken what belongs to the council." "I have taken nothing," Lyra replied. "I've only claimed my right. I've survived. I've protected what my parents fought for. And I will build a future where no child is abandoned, no one is called worthless, and every life matters." The leader's eyes widened as Lyra's golden energy surrounded him. But instead of striking, she extended her hand, offering mercy. I do not want to destroy you. Learn from this. Change or leave. The soldiers exchanged nervous glances. They had expected vengeance, chaos, or fear. Instead, they saw kindness and power combined, a strength born from courage, truth, and compassion. Slowly, they lowered their weapons. Rowan smiled, pride in his eyes. You've done it, Lyra. You didn't just survive, you've changed everything. Lyra felt a warmth in her chest she had never known. She turned to look at the ruins, at the city she had once feared, and then at the sky beyond. The glowing patterns of her mark mirrored the stars above, and in that moment, she realized that she was not alone. Not anymore. I will rebuild, she said, voice strong. Not just for myself, but for everyone who has been forgotten or cast aside. Humans, aliens, all who need hope, they will have it. Rowan nodded. And you won't be alone. You have me, and will gather others who believe in what's right. Outside, the storm began to fade. The first rays of dawn touched the floating ruins, painting them in gold and silver. Lyra raised her hand, and the energy from her mark swept across the city, repairing broken towers, mending shattered walkways, and illuminating dark alleys. The city was alive again, responding to her will and the people who had scorned her. Now looked up in awe, wonder, and hope. Lyra turned to Rowan, a small smile on her face. You gave me shelter when no one else would. You believed in me. Because of you, I can be more than I ever imagined. Rowan chuckled softly. I only gave you a chance. You took the rest. The alien leader, kneeling before her, finally spoke. With respect, we were wrong. You are the rightful heir, and your people, they will follow you. Lyra nodded. Yes, but this isn't just about me. This is about a future where everyone has value, where kindness is stronger than fear, where hope rises even from the darkest places. As the sun climbed higher, bathing the ruins in light, Lyra felt a new beginning. She was no longer the abandoned alien girl. She was the leader, the protector, and a symbol of change. A new alliance of humans and aliens would grow, built on trust, courage, and shelter offered in the darkest times. And for the first time, she understood that being worthless had been a lie. She was never alone, never weak, never unimportant. She was the spark that would light a new galaxy. The sky ruins glimmered around her, alive with energy as Lyra stepped forward. A new future had begun, and she would lead it.